Good morning, friends. Today we have an exciting video that I have been planning for a few weeks now. I wanted it to be right. I wanted to actually sit down and take notes and feel ready for it because this topic, the topic is letting a man lead and secrets of man. So, this came about from my trip to France, where I met this French man who really just told me a lot about men that I really did not know. I was a little bit like, oh, wow, it's so nice hearing a man tell me these things in a simple, straightforward way. And it reminded me of how just different the brains of women are versus men. And there are things about men that, I just can't understand because I'm not a man. And I think that men are far less likely than women to express and share how they're feeling or what's going on in their head. So, this was one of my first times that I've had a man just be super open and honest about the vulnerabilities of man and what makes a man feel like he's in his masculine. And I'm going to share what he shared with me with y'all. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if this resonates with you. And without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so when it comes to making a man feel masculine or letting him lead, the first piece of advice that the French man gave me is don't tell him twice. And he gave me an example of going to church with his dad every Sunday. And every time they arrive at church, the dad wants to go park in the church parking lot, but 100% of the time, the church parking lot is full. So the French man would tell his dad, Dad, it's full, don't park there. And his dad would just look at him and drive right into the parking lot and check. And after, he tried telling his dad, don't park in the church parking lot, it was obvious that his dad's response was, I'm going to check the church parking lot if I would like to. I'm the one driving. That's it. And he told me that after that, he never again told his dad not to try the church parking lot. So every time they go to church, again, his dad will try the church parking lot. It's always full, but the French man just keeps his mouth shut and it is what it is. This is something that I know in the past, uh, I have examples where I will keep saying no, this is my way is the right way. And after the Frenchman gave me this information, I was like, dang, I actually can think of exact moments when I did say it more than once, and I can tell that it really hurt the man I was with's ego or just sense of self. And I'm going to give you some examples, or actually one really comes to mind. So it was early on in dating a man, I'll call him A, and we were on a walk. And so we're on a walk and we're trying to get to a destination, and he had a way he wanted to walk, which was on the street, when there was a trail going near the water. And in my head, I was like, why would we walk on a busy street when we can walk on this beautiful trail with fall leaves and the lake right next to us? So I told him that, he said, okay, let's go this way, which was the street way. And I was like, oh, we should go by the water. And again, he was like, well, this is the way that I normally take with my friends. It will get us there quickly. And again, I'm like, why would we walk that way? Let's walk near the water. And I just remember, you can feel when something inside someone shifts. And I could kind of I just remember feeling the defeat in him when I would not let go of walking near the water. And he's the one who planned the date. Now I see that I think like the better thing to do would have been to just swallow my pride, swallow my need to go near the water and just say, okay, let's go. But that does lead me to the next point in here, which is guide them, don't tell them. Now, having hindsight, it's like if I really wanted to walk near the water, rather than saying to him, hey, no, my way's better, let's walk near the water. I mean, I didn't say it just like that, but you get the point. So when he suggested that we walk near the street, I'm thinking what I could have done is have said something like, do you know of any ways we could walk there that go near the water? Do you ever like walk near the water to get there? And maybe that would have led him to saying, oh, actually, there is a trail that goes right by the water. It might take a little longer, but let's do that instead. And then I think like it would feel like it was his idea. He's still in the lead rather than me now being the one in the lead. So y'all, this is something that I just like didn't understand. I think like I'm just used to being in control. Like I have been single for a lot more time than I have been in a relationship. And my therapist says like don't bring this up, but you know, I grew up with all women. So I just didn't see this. You know, like I didn't have the example to know like about how to let a man lead. So for me, like saying, no, let's walk near the water, it's just like, it just, I didn't think twice about it. So I'm really happy to know this now because now I'm working on it. And I do think that it makes dating a lot easier for me. Okay. So that was the first one of don't tell him twice. Okay. Next, we're going to he likes doing things for you. Don't feel guilty. Oh my gosh, this one like is another one for me that's like I'm working on and it's making dating so much easier and I think it's making the men who I go on dates with feel a lot better about dating me. Okay, so when it comes to things like paying for dates, picking you up, holding your things for you, opening doors for you, helping you put on your coat. Things like this, he enjoys doing if he likes you. And one thing that I have noticed about myself is I often will feel guilty. For example, like here's a good example. Not too long ago, I went on a date with a man. He picked me up at my place. We went to get drinks. He paid for the first round of drinks, and then we were sitting and chatting for quite some time. We both finished our drink, and then we were still chatting and we're clearly going to be there for a while. So, while I already knew that neither of us wanted to drink more alcohol, like I still wanted something to drink. Just like sitting outside, it was kind of hot out, talking so much, your mouth is dry. So, anyways, for me, I remember sitting there wanting something else to drink, and you have to go up to the counter to order. It's not like a waiter or waitress was going to come around and ask. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I want to let him lead, but I also felt guilty that he already picked me up and already paid for the first round. So I'm like, okay, do I say to him like, hey, can you like get us another drink? Um, and I was like, well, I can just offer to pay for it, you know? So my final thing that I did was I was like, hey, do you want to get anything else to drink? I can get it. And I could tell that, like, in that moment, the polarity, like, the masculine feminine balance got shifted. You know, again, I could just feel it in him. I could feel the shift. And he was kind of like, "Oh, did you want something else? Like, I can get it unless you want to get it." You know, and I was like, "Oh, no, if you want to get it, that's cool." Now, like again, having hindsight, guide them, don't tell them. Rather than me saying like I can get it, and I do feel like that's me stepping into the more masculine, more leading role. What I could have done is just said something like, "Hey, I'm still kind of thirsty. Were you thinking of getting anything else to drink?" And then again, like now he can step in and be like, oh yeah, what else would you like? I would love to get you something. And yeah, I think that just keeps more that masculine feminine balance. And I just need to work on not feeling guilty. And also, I just need to understand that if he wants me to pay, he can say something. So in that case where I said like, hey, do you want anything else to drink? I'm feeling thirsty. In the case that he wanted me to pay for it, he could say, oh yeah, I would love to get a tea. Do you mind? I would love to have a tea. Do you mind getting it? And then I can say, okay, but I can let him make that decision. I don't have to. I shouldn't. And I think that's a lot more attractive for a man. And I think nine out of 10 times on the first date, like if he's really interested in you and he's like, a chivalrous man, he's going to be more than happy to pay for the like $4 iced tea that I wanted. But in my head, I'm like, oh, I feel so bad. Okay, so that's that. Okay. Okay, the next one is men have a more difficult time telling you things that aren't working for them in a relationship than women do. And I have great examples of this. I was in a relationship, we'll call him B, and with B, I would always politely tell him when there were things that weren't working for me. For example, he would often like tell me he was on his way over. And so I would be, say, preparing dinner and I would be like, okay, he's on his way over. He should be here in 30 minutes max. I'm going to have the food like timed out so that it will be hot and ready when he's here. 30 minutes would go by. B is nowhere to be seen. 40 minutes, B's nowhere in sight. An hour, B's still not there. And then he would arrive, say a little over an hour later, but it was like clearly B did not leave. B was not on his way when B told me he was on his way. So I would kindly say to B, like, hey, B, I did not mind that you were going to be here in a little over an hour. I just want you to be honest with me. So if you're not on your way, simply don't tell me you're on your way and wait and tell me you're on your way when you're actually on your way. Like that was it. Not mad, just kindly would tell him that. And he would say, okay, I'm sorry about that. Like I didn't want to upset you. And I would tell him you're not upsetting me. That's a whole people pleasing thing, but that's for another day. Anyways, I would always, give him feedback, but he never gave me feedback to the point that I had a talk with my therapist and told her this. And what I believe the outcome was with talking to my therapist about that was, well, he's a grown man and he needs to be able to tell you, like, you're not his parent. You can't like constantly be saying, hey, am I doing anything? Da da da, And I agreed with that. Like, just like I was able to simply tell him when what wasn't working for me, like I should expect him to do the same. So, I kind of just left it alone and thought like, okay, if there are things that like aren't working for him in this relationship, he'll tell me. Fast forward some months later, and what felt like out of nowhere, B shows up with my things, like with things I had given him, and tells me he wants to break up. For me, I was like, what? It was like really out of nowhere. I thought things were going great. So, I had asked him like, hey, can you what's going on? And I told him like, please be honest with me. Like clearly something in this relationship's not working for you if out of nowhere you're showing up with all my things. And he told me like the things that weren't working for him finally. So it's like he had all these things bottled up that weren't working for him. One of those big things being he wanted to watch more television with me because I don't like TV. Like I really don't like to watch TV with a partner. And so for him, rather than like telling me as things came up during the relationship, he didn't say anything because he felt bad. He didn't want to hurt my feelings. So instead, what he did is he bottled it all up until, of course, he exploded and broke up with me out of nowhere, which hurt a million times more than if he would have been telling me all these things as they came up. So I explained that to him. I listened to all the things that weren't working in the relationship, which again, having someone tell you all these things that aren't working for them feels really bad. If he was telling me these things in the moment, no problem. But when it's all coming to you at once and then you're looking back like, oh my gosh, like he was annoyed by that. Oh, he was annoyed by that. You're looking back just like feeling dumb as hell. But like at the same time, I knew that no, it's not. In a relationship, you have the duty of letting someone know what's not working in the moment or like, around the time it's happening. And I guess I'll just say, like, going into a new relationship, that is something that's super important to me, like, that they are giving me feedback because a relationship can't work if you're not willing to communicate what is and isn't working for you in the relationship. Okay, so I gave that example to the French man, and his response was interesting because I know for a lot of men, they don't want to tell a woman what's not working for them because they don't want to hurt her feelings. But for the French man, he actually said that he often won't tell a woman what's not working for him because he believes she already knows and he assumes she's doing it on purpose. This one to me was pretty mind boggling. Like, I, as a woman, cannot relate to that. Like, I'm never gonna be annoying someone on purpose. I think that, like, okay, well, I guess I can give one example with that one, which goes back to the TV thing. So, B did tell me before that he wanted to watch TV with me. And I remember my response was like, well, we spent so little time together that for me, when we were together, like I didn't want to spend it watching TV. So I guess we did have the conversation once. And, maybe B was working off of don't tell her twice. I guess for me, like, I don't mind being told twice or being told more adamantly. So, as I mentioned, he did tell me he wanted to watch TV once. And, I gave him my response, which was, well, we spend so little time together, I don't want to spend it watching TV. And that was it. Um, I think it would have been great if he said, like, hey, actually, like, it's really important. Can we watch TV once every other week? And then I would have been like, okay, no problem. But I guess for me, I didn't realize how important it was to him. But when he did break up with me out of nowhere, he did bring it up that he did tell me once. And so maybe I'm like, well, with women, like, either maybe you do have to tell her twice or like make it clear how important it is to you. And then I think it's different. But if you're, for example, like you're dating someone who's who always wears her shoes in your house and you told her once like, hey, I prefer that people take their shoes off. And so that time she takes her shoes off, but then she comes over again and she doesn't. Like, I think you have to more adamantly say like, hey, there I don't allow people to wear shoes in my house. Like I do think that sometimes you have to remind. Because I will say one thing about women is we're able to do a lot of things at once in a way that men aren't, which I think there's beauty in both of those things. But I mean, I can sometimes have so many things running in my head that I might just forget or I think sometimes with men, especially the type of man that I am attracted to, they can be so chill, like B, that when he told me he wanted to watch TV, it didn't feel like something that was really important to him. It kind of just felt like, oh, okay, it's chill if like, we watch less TV. Clearly it wasn't. Okay, and then here's the final one. So this is another thing from the Frenchman that I had never just like heard a man explicitly say out loud. So it is that there are definitely men out there who will act like they want a relationship when really they're just looking for sex. So the Frenchman gave me an example of a friend telling him that he should be less honest with women to get sex. And he was like, no, I'm going to tell a woman that, like, hey, I'm just looking for a hookup. I'm not looking for a relationship. If I'm going to tell her the truth. But for his friend, I guess what worked for his friend was when his friend wanted sex, he would act like he wants a relationship with a woman to get her to be more likely to have sex with him. And I mean, this is not like mind blowing or anything. I guess I'm not that surprised. And I've definitely had men try to do this to me before. I mean, I think most people have experienced this. But I guess my advice for women in this case is like just know the signs. For example, if he's extra touchy-feely right away, if he invites you over or asks to come to your place very early on, if he's constantly like saying sexual innuendos or talks about the size of himself or like, things like that, sounds like he's not it sounds like he's trying to get in your pants. Like, I think just like have common sense around that. Um is he asking you deeper questions? Is he curious about your family or is he not? So, yeah, that that's that. And then I think for men, my feedback is don't do that. Don't do that shit. Like, I think be honest. There are definitely women out there that are also just looking to have sex. So find those women. And if a woman is clearly like looking for a relationship and you clearly aren't, let her know. I think like just more honesty between men and women would go a long ways. And if you are honest and communicate kindly and like a woman goes off at you or vice versa, not your person. Like, thank you for showing me who you are. Now let me keep it moving. But I have found that, I mean, I guess in all my recent dating experiences, when I communicate with honesty to a man, like he listens and it's okay. And vice versa. Like, I trust that me and whoever I'm seeing are on the same team. And like we want the best for each other. We want to help the other grow. It's not to hurt the other. And I do think there are some people that go into a relationship and take feedback as that person like trying to hurt them. But no, you need to work on yourself. Like if you think the person you're dating is not on your team and not trying to be a positive with feedback, then I think, well, if that's truly what you think, then that person's not for you, or you need to work on yourself so you can get to the point where you can just take feedback and keep it moving. Okay. Okay. That's the video. Let me know your thoughts. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell, ring the notification bell, and I will be back on Thursday at 12 p.m. I love you all. Bye.